Hello everyone, this is Debbie from Ink and Page, and I'm here today with Chapter 2 of the Starcatcher's Journal. This is a big day. This is the day we're going to add in our journal pages. If you are new and you would like to join in on this project, it's totally free. All you have to do is click the link in the description below. Put in your email. I will send you a link to download last week and this week as well. And then you'll get all the future weeks that are coming up. So there's 2 more weeks of this particular project, and then in May we're going to do a new project, which is also going to be super fun. So before we actually start to put our journal pages in, there's a couple of things I wanted to go over. The first thing is that I saw in the Facebook group that there was a question about the drawers. So I just wanted to address that for everybody, just, you know, in case anybody else had a question or an issue. If your drawers aren't even like this, make sure they're in there the right way. Okay, the correct way is that there's 2 tabs that fold over. That's where the drawer should go in. Okay, and then your like one-sided page, like one-sided, like there's no fold over tab on the outside edges of the drawers, just the front and the back, and then they should fit in there just fine. Now I know it's a little bit confusing. They look almost square, but they're not square. There's a little bit off. They're more of a rectangle. So if your drawers didn't fit in perfectly, then that's probably why. Okay, so now I'm going to go quickly over this kit as well, because there's a lot of stuff in it. Today, what we are going to be doing is we're going to be adding in our journal pages in right here, okay? And this is going to be our hidden spine, so you're going to need this piece here, which is in the kit. And it's on the same page as the spine template, which you are also going to need today. And I'll get mine out in just a second when we're ready to do it. They are on the same page, so you just need to print those and you'll be in business. That will help you punch your holes in, you know, the right place for sewing into the back of this. Okay, so... Okay, let's take a quick look at the papers included this week. There are a lot of papers in the kit because there's a lot of stuff happening this week. Last week, it was basically just constructing the base. This week, we're getting into the pages, and then there's also some ephemera because I wanted to give you guys a head start on what we're going to be needing a little bit down the line. So this is our first paper, and this is just a celestial themed one. And then I have like a fancy kind of damask one here. This is a flourishy one. And I have a number of kind of galaxy sort of space, like, I don't want to say space because it's not really space, but just sky backgrounds here as well. So I have this one here. This paper here matches this part of the journal, and I thought it would be a good idea to give you guys that in case you wanted to do anything decorative with that, or you wanted this particular paper that matches the interior of the journal. Okay, then I have this lily floral. A few people mentioned that celestial wasn't necessarily their thing, so I tried to make sure I incorporated other things into this kit that aren't just celestial. So most of it is celestial. I mean, that's our theme, is the Starcatcher's Journal. But if you wanted to do like a little bit of a kind of, I don't want to say medieval, that's probably way too far back, but just like a pretty like journal, there's plenty of flowers and stuff in here for you to use to do that. And then I have another like worn background, which these are my absolute favorite. And then a parchment paper. And then just kind of like a swirly, pretty background here. And then a really nice stripe. So those are the papers that you have for printing on the back of your journal pages. So I wanted you to have a wide variety so that you felt like you had enough differentiation in your journal, like the pages weren't repeating too much or anything like that. So in here, this is actually the spine template that you're going to need for punching holes in here later. So I had that with my journal pages, and we have a number of journal pages. Do not feel like you have to use them all. You certainly just pick the ones that you like, the ones that speak to you. I just wanted to create a variety of them so that, you know, I could hopefully give you enough options that you would find, you know, some pages in here that you would like. So we got a castle. We got like our little star potions here. We have stars. And you can see I just randomly printed the papers on the back of mine. We have some astronomy books here. More potions and candles. A floral here. We have a you know, a night and a day here. And some flowers again. Our telescope. Our moonlit path here. And some more stars and a book. So hopefully that gives you guys a good rundown of what's available in here for you to use. I'm definitely want to use my castle in the middle, like for my, like, you know, center image. I kind of like envision this whole thing like maybe perhaps our star catcher lives in this castle, right? And this is, you know, he or she or they are up in the, you know, highest tower, you know, using their telescope to look at the skies. So that's kind of was the, you know, I guess the inspiration behind the whole thing here. So, okay, the other thing you're going to need, aside from your journal pages, is end papers. So there are a bunch of different end papers. You can mix and match them however you like. They are 2 to a page in the kit. So there's a sun and moon. There's this compass one. And there's a floral one here. Oops, where's the other one? There's 2, so 1 for each side. And then there's also the, just like, kind of watercolory, like, not overwhelming, just pretty simple background as well. So, and you can, you know, however those, you want to put those together. Okay, so these are the items that we're going to be using today. And then I just want to quickly go over the ephemera as well. I'm sorry, I know this is a lot of talking up front. Just so you know what's in here and what your options are for, like, thinking about how you want to decorate this and where you want to put stuff. And obviously we're going to do that together as well, but, you know, please feel free to, you know, do whatever you want to do this week. So there's 2 sheets of artist trading cards. There is a bunch of fussy cuts, and all of these, they're like celestial themed mostly. There's some flowers, some stars, some books, you know, just things like that. So that there's all of that available for fussy cuts. And then there's a number of pockets here. So this is a corner pocket. This one would fit across the bottom of a page. Same with these 2. So those are there, you know, for you to think about too, because I wanted to make sure we had stuff to put on the back pages. So that's what I was kind of thinking with these. I will definitely make more pockets, and we'll talk about how we can make our own pockets as well, because you may want to put a pocket in a place that I didn't specifically design a pocket for. So we'll talk about that as well. And then we have a bunch of envelopes. So there's coin envelopes, and where are the other ones? There's square envelopes as well, and tags. There's a couple of belly bands. These cards go in the envelope. And then we also have collage tiles and like domino collage pieces. So I know that's a lot, but I figured, you know, why not give it to you ahead of time so you could get started on the cutting and all of that. So you have like things ahead of time for next week. And then for the last week is when we're going to be doing all of our embellishing and decorating. And that's when we're really going to have all this. So you can just take it slow, cut it out as you wish, and then we'll use it for those weeks. Okay, so let's get started with putting our journal together. So I already have this prepared here, and I inked mine. So we're going to start out with the hidden spine. Now, we've done this multiple times in projects past. So if you've done any of my other journal projects, you probably have seen this style. We're only doing one signature this time. And what you're going to need for this is some kind of a pokey tool. This would work. This works, you know, the die picks work. Anything that's pointy, just put a hole in. You'll need some clips, paper clips, some of those like little flat back quilt clips, some kind of string or thread, and a needle. Okay, that's what we're going to use today to sew all this stuff in. Okay, so your first step here is you want to poke all your holes in here. Make sure you hold your fingers apart so you don't accidentally stab yourself. Okay, so this is printed on 110-pound cardstock. So I would definitely recommend printing it on the sturdiest paper that you have, just because this is a real huge functional piece in our journal. The journal pages are printed on 32-pound paper. It's the HP 32, and it'll be linked below along with this, which is the Hammer Mill 110. Okay, now that these holes are poked in here, we have to take a quick look at, I did take a look at this before the video started to make sure the papers were, you know, the way that I wanted them to be. So I have them pretty much organized how I want them. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to poke a hole in this. And to do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the spine template. Whoops, what did I do with it? Okay. It went a little MAA. I'm going to use this, and I'm going to use an old encyclopedia to punch my holes. So I'm going to grab that and put that on the desk, and then we'll get started. Okay, I'm going to use this like a book cradle to punch my holes in my signature. I know you can buy, I think you can buy book cradles, but this works just great. And most of us have this sort of thing just laying around our house because that's what you have when you junk journal, right? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put clips on here to hold the papers just how they are. And one thing I didn't mention when I started this was if you want to add in any other papers that you have, go for that as well. You could just use this as a template for the correct size, and it doesn't even need to be the correct size. It can be any size. If you want to vary the size and the shape of your pages, I mean, that's just as good too. Okay, so here we go. I'm just using the pages in the kit for mine this time. Okay, and then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in here. I already folded it in half. And I just want to get it like kind of even top to bottom. And then I'm just going to poke my awl into the center here. It usually goes through pretty easily. And I don't have a huge amount of hand strength. And I can get it through. So hopefully it won't give you any trouble. Okay, so I got that all set. You can take this out, put it away. Okay, and then the next thing you're going to need is the, this is like the inner spine. That was on the same page as this one. And we're going to need some thread and our needle. Okay, so I'm going to, usually we'll go 3 times per signature. And that usually gets you where you want to be. I always do a little bit of extra just because I like to be prepared. I'm gonna just grab my scissors. Okay, and then we're just gonna do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. So this will be nice and easy and pretty quick, actually. And then once we have this sewn into the spine, we'll glue that into the actual journal. Okay, there we go. I feel I should have threaded that ahead of time, but okay. So what we're doing is we're sewing this into the spine template. So what you're going to do is you're going to come in through the back, okay, just like that, and then you're going to come in through your center hole here. There we go. And then we're going to go in through our top hole. Which is a little tricky to see, actually, because of the castle that I picked there. Okay, and then just make sure it doesn't get caught on your clips, because this is a problem I frequently have. I have sewn a journal together and then had the string get caught on a clip, so that I had to redo the whole signature. So just a word to the wise there. And then we're going to go in through this hole as well on the top. Or actually, that would be on the bottom. Sorry about that. Okay, you just pull your thread tight, and then we're just going to go in through the middle here. So overall, not too bad. And then when you're coming up through here, just make sure you hold this to one side so that you don't split the thread. You don't want to like push the needle through this piece of thread or this piece of thread. And then when you pull it up through the back, you want to have one tail on one side of the middle string and one tail on the other side of the middle string. Okay, and then we're just going to look, and like I want to do like a visual check and make sure everything looks good. And I'll pull that nice and tight, and then I'm just going to cut that. And then I'm going to save that piece of thread, and I will use that in my journal. It's actually how I get some of my scraps. Somehow I always find it more useful to have little pieces of stuff lying around than like a big roll of something, and then I'm much more inclined to use it. Okay, so I'm just going to put a knot in there and then trim these guys off. Okay, and now we have our signature sewn into our spine. Okay, and I take these guys off temporarily, and then what we're going to do is open this up. Okay, and this is going right in here. So this is actually not too bad in terms of like, you know, getting this done. It's going pretty quickly. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to glue the middle first, and then I'll glue either side. Okay, so my first step is to put a little bit of glue here on this knot, okay, because I don't want that to come undone. All right, and then just for safety's sake, I'll put some glue around my other hole here, just so things don't come loose. And then I'm just going to put glue all over this spine here. I did ink, like, I know it looks a little bit crazy, but I just wanted to make sure that I had everything thoroughly inked, so that, because I didn't print on the back of this, so I wanted to have everything pretty well covered so that you couldn't see any white once this was laid down. Okay, so we got that. Actually, I'm going to lay that on its side and then we'll just take this piece and hold it like this, and then we're just going to line it up on here. Okay, once you have this glued in and kind of pressed down a little bit, we'll start and we'll go with this side, and we're just going to do the same thing. We're just going to glue it down, and then we'll do the other side. Just make sure you get that glue right up to the edge there. And then if it spreads a little bit, just keep an eye on that, and you can just wipe it off really quick when you glue it down. You just want your edges to stay down really nicely. There we go. I got that one. Make sure I don't have any glue on my desk. And then I'm going to flip this over, and then I'm going to do this side here. And then if you notice like it's not perfect after you get it down, you can just touch it up with a little glue around the edges. And also, like, you're probably going to want to put some pockets and stuff on here as well. So don't worry too much. You know, we'll get everything, we'll make sure everything's nice and secure. And because this is cardstock and this is cardstock, it'll kind of help to make it more sturdy. And then we're also going to glue our end papers on right now. So hopefully that will also add some more structure, and then you'll start to see it, you know, feel a little bit more sturdy. Okay, so now that you got this in there, you're going to have to like redo your creases as well, because now your spine is double thick. I'm going to double check that and double check that. That looks good. Okay. All right, so now let's take a quick look at the end papers. And I'm very torn on mine. I kind of want these matching compasses on mine, I think. Let me take a quick look at that. Yeah. I think I'm going to go with this one for mine. And so just now more gluing. We're doing a lot of gluing today. I don't think I inked around these edges, which I think I'm going to do really quickly before I glue this down. Okay, I have my end papers all inked here, and I'm going to put these down right here on either side. I think I'm going to go with the outside first this time, just because I think it'll be a little bit easier. All right, so now I just need to glue this guy down. Okay, I'm just going to try to center this on here as best as I can. And if I have any overlap or anything like that, I'll just trim it. But it should fit around there pretty well. There we go, and that glue grabbed on there real quick, so that's good. And then now we have this side. Glue and tape on here if you wanted. I don't know why, but sometimes I think when I'm doing this, I always want to use glue for... Just make sure everything is... You want to make sure that this fold is foldable. Okay, so just keep an eye on that when you're doing this. All right, so you're going to press that down as well. And now we have our end papers installed, as well as our journal pages. So that should help give some heft to this side of the journal, you know, because like it was very floppy with just the box over here and then without the journal. So this gives our journal a little bit more heft. And now you guys can start thinking about, you know, where do you want to put your pockets, things like that. And then next week we are going to work on decorating this outside of this box, as well as some of the things that are going to go inside of this box. And then the week after that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put in our pockets and stuff. So this week, that pretty much brings us to a close for this one. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. And if you have any questions, throw them down in the comments. If you could put a question mark before your question, it helps me find them a lot faster. So like, instead of putting it at the end, put the question mark at the beginning. I do try to read the comments, even if I don't have time to reply to them. So just so you're aware, and also like I have a couple of other eyes out there too, trying to help me out to grab all the questions so I can answer them. And so that would be great if you could do that. And I will see you guys again in a couple of days. I have a couple more videos coming out this week, so hopefully that will be enjoyable. And thank you so much for joining me. Oh, and please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys soon.